Defining terms. First, let's clarify our key terms. Nationalism is the idea that a nation, usually defined by a shared culture, ethnicity, or history, should be a sovereign state. Identity politics focuses on the political interests and perspectives of groups of people who share a common identity, such as race, ethnicity, gender, or religion. Populism, on the other hand, is a political approach that appeals to the ordinary people and contrasts their interests with those of the elite. The connection. How are these three concepts linked? It's a bit of a puzzle. Sometimes nationalism and identity politics can fuel populist movements. When people feel their national or group identity is threatened or neglected by the established political system, they might support populist leaders or parties who promise to protect or elevate their identity. Examples. Let's look at some examples. The rise of right-wing populist parties in Europe, for instance, is often attributed to fears about immigration, dilution of their culture, loss of national identity, and a sense of economic insecurity. Similarly, some populist movements in other parts of the world draw on religious or ethnic identity to mobilize support. The risks. It's important to note that the combination of nationalism, identity politics, and populism can be very dangerous at times. Although it can give a voice to the marginalized groups, it can also lead to the exclusion of others marginalized groups as well as the erosion of democratic norms. The combination of these three can also lead to the rise of authoritarian tendencies. Critical thinking. As we consider these issues, it is necessary to think critically. Are populist leaders truly representing the interests of the people, or are they simply using identity politics to consolidate power? Are nationalist sentiments promoting unity and pride, or are they fueling division and prejudice? These are complex questions with no easy answers. The interplay between nationalism, identity politics, and populism is an issue with significant implications for our world. It's a topic that requires constant discussion and critical thinking skills from the citizens so they can understand how these things play a role. Discussion questions. Can you think of other examples of populist movements that draw on nationalism or identity politics? What are the potential benefits and risks of combining these three elements? How can we ensure that the concerns of different groups are addressed without resorting to divisive rhetoric or policies? In what ways can education and critical thinking counteract the negative effects of populism?